All right. Make sure we're recording. Okay, we're recording. We should be recording. Okay, we're flashing. We're on.
Hey, rock and roll. Rock and roll. Right, hey guys and girls, welcome to today's webinar. As most of you know, who spent some time working with us at the gym and through running hot coaching as well, been lucky enough over the past probably 6 or 8 months now, I think, Ange, to be working with Angela Jenkins and Dave Leo over the Kaizen Institute of Health on the Sunshine Coast. And as part of that, we've been introduced to the PH360 platform and the wonderful world of epigenetics. So what we've got today is lucky enough to Angela to come and share some of her time and great knowledge with us and tell us a little bit more about the epigenetics, what it's all about, what it can really do for us from a training point of view, and how we can really start looking at personalised health at a much deeper level. So I'm not going to waffle on too much more, Ange. I'll let you take the reins.
Yeah.
And share your wonderful knowledge.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Thanks, Neil, and thanks for having us along. It's just awesome to see what you're doing over there. And I know you've been using this a little bit, and some of the results that you've got with some of your clients already has been like pretty mind blowing. And I know when I was introduced to this, it was just like, you know, when you have those aha moments and the pennies just start dropping, and you know, this is a real game changer. And I think we all know that. You know, we know it over time that, you know, some people go really well on a high protein diet and some people don't, or some people need to eat a lot of carbohydrates and some people don't, or some people, you know, you look at people running marathons and some are like really lean and skinny and others don't seem to put on weight when they're doing that type of training. And it's really interesting that we're so individual. And I've been on this big exploration, I guess, journey with my health and, you know, just really curious, I guess, about what's going on in the body. And it's, you know, it's led me to investigating obviously nutritional stuff, hormonal stuff, energetic stuff, and now like genetics and epigenetics. So yeah, it's really exciting. So we'll get into it. I'm really excited to share some of this stuff with you. So hang on, where are we? The key thing to understand is that we are all different. So we all have 23,000 genes that are all unique. Now in the past, people have, you know, had the thought like, oh, it's just my genes, I'm big boned, it's just my genes, it's hard for me to lose weight, or it's just my genes, I'm like this. Now, whilst that is partly true, what people don't realise is that our environment and our lifestyle have a huge impact on us. So they can actually switch on and switch off different types of genes. So whilst we might inherit certain genes, and look, there are some cases when there's some terrible gene mutations that get passed down that, you know, lead to many diseases. But on the whole, a lot of different gene mutations can be managed and can be switched on and switched off. And it's a really interesting concept to get your head around. But when you get your head around it, what's really exciting is the power's back in your hands, is that your choices matter. And that's what I say to people now, like the thoughts that you have can have an impact on what genes are switched on and switched off. You know, what you choose to hop up in the morning and drink a glass of water or have a triple shot coffee, that's going to affect your gene expression. Getting up and exercising or staying in bed is going to affect your gene expression. And the interesting thing is it's going to affect different people differently because we've all got different genes. So, you know, it's really exciting. And what's, I guess, more exciting now is that there's technology available and it's evolving at a rapid rate where we can actually measure some of this now and do more personalized program for you. So I think you can see, like, it's an absolute game changer. And once you do this, you'll see for yourself. And there's no better example. I got this picture from identical twins that were on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And it's really interesting, like, you know, these people have the exact same genetic makeup. So how much is genes and how much is environment and lifestyle? You know, when you look at that, you can see that, you know, you can have certain genes, but, you know, this lady on the right here can't say, oh, I've been given some bad genes, and this one on the left go, oh, I've been given some good genes. They've got the exact same genes, yet they've obviously made very different environmental, lifestyle, you know, different thoughts, different beliefs, which have affected their gene expression. So, you know, I think that's the best example to realise that, you know, we can have the power to change ourselves in a huge way once we know how to do it. In terms of, you know, if we go a little bit of science, I'll touch on a tad of science, is that basically we have what's called this super genome. So we have these 23,000 genes that are inherited from our parents. And, you know, the key thing to understand is that they're responsive and dynamic in the fact that they can be what we call these switching off and switching on and switching off. So they're not actually rigid and stuff. Whilst you can't change the genes that you have, you can change how they're expressed. And, you know, I'll show you this next slide in a second, but what's really interesting is I'm trying to think, well, how do you switch on and switch off genes? Like, it was explained to me like you switch on and switch off a light, or you turn, you dim up and you dim down a light. But what's really interesting is that on a strand of DNA, there's actually a switching mechanism. And it's really hard to get your head around that on these 23,000 genes, there's actually a little switching mechanism which does that. And the other thing as well is that all of the microbes that are in our gut are filled with genes as well. So we're just got, like our gut is a whole other world as well. So what's really interesting is, gut health is so important. And I know Neil does a lot of that as well. So this is like basically a strand of DNA, and what you can see is on the strand of DNA, you can see here there's an actual switching mechanism, and what they are is they're basically these molecules that respond to the environment. And a good example that sort of, I guess, we often use is that, if you walk into a freezer, you start shivering, and what actually happening is that change in temperature, that change in environment causes this switching mechanism here to basically contract and cause the shivering genes to happen in your body. And then when you walk back out to a warmer environment, it changes. So, that's just one small example. But these chemicals here are opening and closing and switching on and off these 23,000 genes. So it's pretty mind-blowing. And there's so many things that affect that. And, it's not just the food, like food can do it. Coffee will have it, switch on and switch off, Exercise will do that. But not only that, it's our thoughts and our beliefs can actually switch on and switch off this as well. So when you have a fear-based thought, that actually activates, contraction, and your protective genes are switched on. So it's a completely different response to a loving and a joyful experience. So, it's pretty mind-blowing when you start to think at that level as well. People often ask me, there's a lot of genetic testing going around at the moment, and I've done a lot of it over the years because I'm, obviously very interested in this area. And, the thing with the gene testing, it's great because you can actually look at 23,000 genes. So this one here is a test that I've had. Not, these are, one snippet of genes that I have. So as you can see, what you get is you get given all these numbers, and I've got some small mutations in certain genes here. Now, whilst that's interesting to know, and that's going, okay, so I know that I have some mutations in liver detoxification and it's something that I have to watch. It doesn't mean that I have liver issues and that they're expressing in my body, because depending on my lifestyle choices, these can be switched off or switched on. So if I was to have a big weekend, turned 40 the other week, if I was to have maybe had a few wines, I may have switched on some of these, mutated genes that affect my liver detoxification. However, on the majority in the whole, they're actually switched off. So whilst that gives me some clue, it's not telling me exactly what's going on in my current life or what to do about it. You get given all these numbers and you're like, what do you do about it? And it's the same over here. So you get given, all these different genes that are affecting power and endurance. And this is someone else's report. They're 62% power, 37.5% endurance, typically their genes. But that doesn't mean, this particular person did a 3-hour bike ride, massive race in December last year. So, massive endurance event. So, obviously more of those were switched on and he had to train a little bit differently. So it doesn't give you the information that you need. Whereas the profiling that we're looking at caters for genes that are actually switching on and switching off as well. So a lot more detail there. So the platform that Neil mentioned at the start is PH360. It's Personalised Health 360. And what they've actually done, which is pretty great, so there's so many different sciences, some around, hundreds of thousands of years, like your Eastern medicine side of things. They've integrated Eastern medicine and they've taken all of these Western medicine sciences and they've integrated them into a platform. Now, the thing is, a lot of these sciences have amazing data and amazing results, but they tend to be insulated. Endocrinology just tends to focus on endocrinology, or embryology tends to focus on embryology. So what these guys have done, which is really, really smart, the team of doctors in Italy, there's a guy who's amazing, and also through the States, they've actually gathered all of this amazing research that has been happening and pulled it together. So, anthropometry, and you'll see when you do the platform, you have to take certain measurements. Now, certain measurements that you take are actually linked to certain minerals that are expressing, to certain hormones that are expressing in your body, and it just tells us so much information. Embryology is pretty mind-blowing. From the time we're conceived, we actually form our cells, an ectoderm, mesoderm, or endoderm, which you may have heard of, like your ectomorph, your mesomorph, or your endomorph. So different types of profile, it actually starts, when we're conceived. So it's really mind-blowing how, those things are linked to different things. So, your short, muscly person, is linked to different types of minds, different types of strengths in different bone densities. They have different strength in their heart compared to someone else. So there's so many different things. And what it's actually done is integrated it and looked at what specific things, not just food and exercise, because health is more than food and exercise. It actually talks about the environment, the place we're living, the importance of social, also mindset and career as well. So it's a real holistic approach, and I'll show you a bit of the platform as we get into it as well. Now this is, I guess, the wheel, and I'll get Neil to jump in here in a bit as well, but this wheel is basically a profiling wheel, and what it actually does is it breaks your profile down into these different types. So over this side, you've got your short, muscly type of person, typically. Over here, you've got your thicker, bigger bone who carries a bit more fat. And then around the bottom here, you've got the thinner, the frailer bones and less fat through here. So it's a general guide in profiling, but it's way deeper than that, and it's layered a lot more. So there's so many different things that it tells us about, training. And I know Neil's been using it. I'll actually skip onto this bit. I know you've been using it, Neil, with some clients already. And do you want to chat about some differences that you've seen when you've looked at different profiles in, nutrition and training, and how you've coached them? So, because it's really interesting when you start to apply.
I think I'll just share some of my personal experiences first. Yeah. It's probably something to do with my profile as well. I'm a crusader.
So Neil's out here.
And I think I sat as a 70 crusader. So what I learned as I went through it is that my brain's quite logical. I like to know the facts. I like to know what's going on. And so being that way, I pulled the program apart a little bit, but learned some huge wins for me personally. As you get more into the program, you learn about these, but top two things that I needed to focus on were my mind and my talents. So looking at my mind, it was making sure, which I thought I was reasonably good at doing. I've now improved that and noticed some significant difference by training my mind like I train my body. As what I've done now is integrated into my day a session where I have a mind workout like I would have had a physical workout. And that's made a real nice difference to how my day flows, how it runs, what I'm achieving. Talent-wise, it's referring to what you're using your talents and using them to your advantage. And I think, again, I was doing that. It's just highlight a few areas that I can probably not try and spread myself so thin and focus a little bit more closely on the stuff that's gonna get me some bigger wins. So for me personally there, and then looking into, again, food-wise, I would have said that it was doing as I should. There's a couple of subtle changes where I've switched out some red meats for fish. It wasn't a conscious decision, but a lot of my fish consumption had dropped down. I've increased that up slightly, replaced it with some of the red meats, and again noticed some improvements in digestion. And another huge win for me was splitting up my carbs and proteins. So some meals having more of a carb-based meal, other meals more of a protein-based meal, because it's just a lot easier on my digestion, and cooking my foods rather than eating a lot of raw foods. So a lot of wins out there. To give you some comparisons with some of the other clients I've been working with on the other side of the scale, it may be that they're starting the day with the diplomats on a later breakfast. So starting the day later on, not those that sort of bordering on the Guardian as well, not rushing into a meal, starting with a much slower day. And a couple of these clients, we were training early in the morning and getting a little bit of resistance, not feeling great when they were coming in. And they've had the luxury that we've been able to split their times to later on in the day. And guess what? They're coming in, and the sessions we were struggling through, we're now getting some much better results. Couple of clients who are eating a huge amount of meat. So typical men, thinking it's the cornerstone of their diet. And by switching that for more of a vegetable-based diet, and including more vegetables in their daily nutrition, has made a huge difference as well. So
that's what I love is, like, this is Neil's talking about people on this side of the profile, and these people do better on more vegetables as opposed to meat. Whereas if you go over this profile, these guys need a lot of meat, these activators. And, a really interesting story. I was doing a group program last year, and, we were going through it. And there was one girl, there was a big group, but there was in particular one girl over here. She was a smack bang in the middle of activator, and one girl over here, he was a diplomat. Now, these two girls got amazing results in the program, This one over here made sure she ate from the time she woke up, and she ate every 3 hours because her metabolism needs that. She needs meat. She needs to eat regularly. This one over here stopped having breakfast. Now, typically, if someone told you to stop having breakfast, you go, oh my God, I need to have breakfast for my metabolism. And as Neil touched on, these guys eat later. So she stopped eating breakfast, started having a smoothie at 10 and eating at 10, 2 and 6. And she's losing, she had been putting on weight for the last few years. She's dropping weight by doing that. She's dropping weight by doing this. This one over here is doing short, high intensity exercise. This one over here is stopping some of the weights and getting back to swimming and doing that slow, steady type exercise, and they're getting amazing results. So when we say high intensity training is great or endurance training is great, they are, but they need to be great for the right body. And that's what this tells us, is what's great for the right body. And I love Neil's explanation before, like mind and talents are really important for him. And what you'll see with the different profiles is they have different priorities. Like I'm a connector up here, so social is very important. I'm really driven by that social connection, and oxytocin in my system will make me feel well and everything else falls into place. You know, whereas people over here really need movement, you know, so people over here need, you know, connection, you know, so it's really interesting when you start to prioritize what your program is. So anything else you want to add, Neil, before we...
I think it's just going to be, what I'm really excited about is it's going to be fascinating what impact this has on the whole industry, because from a programming point of view, it's really started to open my eyes to another level again, is really treating people as an individual, giving them individualized health and fitness. They're able to get their goals. So from a education training point of view, and just offering the population a much better service, we can now offer a much better service because we're treating people as individuals. Whereas sorry, go on.
Yeah, and I think, you know, like it's how you coach people too. Like it actually, you know, it changes that as well. You know, like Neil's over here, he's a crusader. They like all the, like he said at the start, they like the information, the data, they're going to pull it to pieces. They're going to sort it out themselves and come back to you. So they might need regular stuff. These people over here are about, you know, I'm a group person. These are the connections. So these people here might need more regular coaching and might want more regular contact, you know. So you actually can change how you're actually programming the frequency that you train people as to really what they need, and the things that you monitor. Like these people over here really love the data, you know, and Neil's probably shaking, you know, nodding his head like he loves data. So he likes to see all the measures and the numbers. So, you know, when you're actually working through it, you can be giving it here. Me, on the other hand, I'm not as interested in that. I just go by feeling, and I'm sort of more like that. So, you know, to give me a heap of data is not interesting. So you can see, you know, we can actually just put together, you know, things that are going to really tick your boxes. And even if you may not know that, like, you know, these things will help as well, as, you know, because it's about the implementation of how it's implemented as well.
I think as well, just to add in as well, what was common across the groups we've done so far with the Angela is that a lot of people just relaxing and going, oh, that's okay that I'm like that.
Yeah.
It's okay to go, and it's that I get up a little bit later. I can stop beating myself up about that. So there's been a lot of the individuals that have actually just relaxed a little bit and gone, all right, that's a bit more normal now, and they're getting more out of their day because they're not beating themselves up that they should be doing something different.
Yeah, it's so true. It's, you know, we're all unique, and it's about embracing that uniqueness and living our unique life, you know, so it's pretty exciting. What I'll do now is I'll just give you a bit of I'll show you the platform. I'll just bring it up on the screen here. So basically when you go through, you do a heap of measures, and you actually, this is the type of level of information that you get. Does that come up now?
Yeah, we got that, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the platform here. So you actually get, so this is like, there's different sections in the dashboard. So this is, for example, the food section to start with. So you actually get a list of what times and how frequently you should eat. So you get a schedule, and as Neil talked about, some people, you know, don't have breakfast, some people need to eat all day. This is the, you know, to give you an idea of, you know, sort of my food schedule. And then you can actually go in, and this is where it gets pretty interesting. You can actually go into food lists, and it gives you specific foods that are more suited towards you. And this is what, you know, I find really mind-blowing. And I always use the example, I go into like sauerkraut. So sauerkraut is a fermented food that I've always recommended to people because it's really good for good bacteria for gut health. Now, what's really interesting is for my particular body type, sauerkraut comes up as an avoid food. So, you know, then you can click on to why, and it actually tells me why. It's because the acid residues, and there's different things about it which can cause bloating and and other things in my system, whereas someone else could click on that and it's absolutely a top food for them to have. So you actually, you know, things that you may think are good for you may not be suited to your body. So you get so much information, and it actually gives you lots of different recipes and stuff based on foods that are recommended for your body type. And, you know, different people have different lengths of digestive tracts, so they can digest different foods, and different people have, you know, issues with more, tend to have more issues with their liver or their gallbladder, or different digestive enzymes they have weaknesses in or more of. So, you know, there's so many different foods. So you get all of this stuff here. Like, it's pretty phenomenal. Like, there's a lot of information here, and that's why it's really important. Neil will help coach you through the platform and sort of how to decipher all this information, because it's so much there. It's really interesting. So that's just the food side to give you an overview. And then, like, it gives you, you know, some fitness guidelines. So again, it talks about a fitness schedule. So different times a day are best to exercise for different people. So you can go through there. You know, then you can click on specific types of exercises. Oh, it's not my workout plan, sorry. Haven't set up my workout plan yet. Oh, sorry, you've got to change it. They've just updated this actually to make it, this is a new update, which is quite cool. So you can actually go into strength, and you can actually type in the type of session that you're looking for. So I might do moderate, intermediate, I'll just put no equipment. And you can actually generate a workout through here that is specific to you. So it gives you different exercises that are more suited to you, because different people have different bone densities. They tend to have different issues in their fascia depending on what their profiles are. It goes really in depth, so you can actually really work on that. I know, for example, Neil and some of the profiles down the bottom have to do a lot of spinal mobility type work, because that's really important. You know, so you can get so much information here. And then you click on the lifestyle section, and it just gives you mind-blowing stuff about your mind, insight into your brain function, and things that you can do to make sure your mind's functioning optimally. And I know that's where Neil's got some amazing wins. So you can see, you know, I won't go into all the detail there, but just to show you, you can get information about your place, about, you know, the environment that you're in, the climates, the temperature, and it actually gives you specific tips of things that you can do to get more in alignment and make better choices based on your profile. So Neil, jump in at any time. I'm just sort of showing them the type of thing that they can get here. And then social, again, similar thing from the social point of view. So you can see here, like, you just get so much more information, and it explains to you not only how you work based on your genes and your profile, but things to do about it. So it actually gives you solutions. So that's what I really love about it, is so you can actually take some action.
I think the thing we found with the coaching follow-ups we've done after your group sessions, Angela, is there's a huge amount of information.
Yeah.
And it's what's worked really well in the coaching is just looking at some of the lower hanging fruit and going, right, we can do this. This is something we can implement pretty quickly and easily. And it's been amazing how much it's just small little changes. Subtle little changes. Some of the time people have thought they've got to change the world. Make a massive change, but we're getting some real great results with just small little changes, bite-sized pieces, and just taking it one step at a time. But the result from a health fitness point of view has been pretty significant.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing, is when you make the right, because these, even though they're only small changes and you may not think you're doing too much, but because they're specific to you and like they have a massive effect, so that it's an absolute game changer. And I think, as you can see here on the platform, there is so much information. And as Neil said, that's why the coaching is just critical, because it's about pulling it together and how you work it into your life. Because, you know, you can just, you know, knowledge is nothing unless it's used, you know. So, and that's where the implementation is really, really important as well. I'll just bring it back to the presentation here. So
we found exciting, Angela, there's the just the opportunity of, once you tick off some of that lower hanging fruit with some of the people we're working with, we're at a stage where we can move further up the tree now. And the scope of the program and the access you're getting means that you can literally, like a periodized program, you can take chunks at a time, and then move on and work on the next chunk. So you can see it as a journey, which is exactly what the health and fitness should be.
Yeah, no, it's so great.